And I think I have it. So now we're recording and I will share my screen full screen. So here we are. And thank you for being here and welcome to today's facilitation of lesson 1. So we're going to go through the facilitation. And if you are already have gone through TIR, thinking into results, then simply treat this like you're starting over and implement it as though that you're going through it for the first time. And just pretend that you haven't been here before, that you haven't done this before, that this is the first time that you're going through this, and see how that goes for you. I still really am not sure if I'm recording. Yeah, it says it's recording, so we're good to go. Okay, so that's the basic introduction, and just welcome. Welcome to this facilitation of the thinking into results with the essential oils. And so I'm going to introduce myself. So my name is Carol Howden, and I've had the privilege of being mentored and trained by the best in mindset and the best in essential oils. So in mindset by Bob Proctor himself. And so if any of you listening to this don't know Bob Proctor, Bob is the world's most sought after authority on the development of human potential. And in essential oils, I've had the privilege and the opportunity of being trained and mentored by the best, Dr. Gary Young, who I've had the privilege and opportunity of working side by side with. And he's the world's most foremost authority on what we call priority or premium essential oils. And both of these men, Bob Proctor and Gary Young, they are the best in their field. They're the best in their industry. And I find it an honor and a privilege to be able to bring these two modalities together and to partner them up. And I know that if you follow this program, that it will transform your life. It did mine. It transformed mine, and so it can yours too. And you know how we're going to interact on this call. We're actually not going to interact in this call. I want you to write your questions down, and then you can post them in the Facebook page where they will be answered on our next Q&A, which will be next week. So just write down your questions and make sure that they're posted in there. Right after this call, I'll put up a feed of where you can post your questions so that they get answered on next week's call. And so here's just a basic outline of what we're going to cover in this call. So we're just going to do a basic introduction to lesson 1. We'll discuss the oils and the implementation. We'll cover some key points, and I'll talk a little bit about the worksheets, and then we'll wrap it up. So simple, simple, simple. And so the oils for this lesson. So first of all, let me share with you what this is not about. This is not about you simply taking notes. TIR is simply not about you taking notes and just getting a head knowledge. This is about you actually, yes, listening, of course, listening and jotting down notes and then using the oils and moving into action. So it's all about the implementation. And so and the repetition of doing this over and over and over again. So now for the oils that we're going to be using. I didn't do a post right at the last minute. If you happen to see that, if not, it's no worries. And so our oils are acceptance and abundance. So these are the two oils. And what I want you to do with them is put them, so this is just an empty thieves bottle, a thieves spray. And I put a new label on it just before because mine was getting really tattered. But I just write on it, TIR lesson 1, accept abundance spray. And so in the water, you're going to put 5 drops of each of these oils. And this is what I call accept abundance. And some of us, myself, maybe I'm speaking for myself, have had difficulties in the past accepting abundance and have lots of perceptions around this. So we're just going to give this bottle a shake and spray mist yourself. And spray mist yourself with this every time when you go to listen to the lesson, when you go to study, and just get that so that you can breathe that in. This is called your spray mist of accept abundance. And then the believe oil, every time when you're going to study, after you've listened to your lesson, we just do the same thing we've always do. We just put a drop of the oil in your hand and take some deep inhalations of that, holding it at the peak of your breath and doing that with your eyes closed. And this is when when you need to think about what you've listened to. You need to think about what you want to write down, and when you want to think about what your goal is, because this whole lesson is about us being able to achieve the goal that we've set out to do. And so with the oils, let's talk just a little bit about how the oils work before we go into the thinking into results lesson. And so all of us have, generally speaking on this call, all of us have a lot of experience with the oils. And we're familiar with the smells, and we know that when we inhale the essential oils or apply the essential oils, that we can feel just a little bit more relaxed, or we can feel happier and more content, or we can feel just a relieving of tension, or maybe we feel clearer and in our mind and our thinking, and we can concentrate better, or maybe more alert and just have more mental clarity. And so this is all so important as you're thinking about your goals and what you really want. You need to relax and be in a relaxed state when you're thinking about your goals. So how does this happen? And when we smell or inhale an oil or the fragrance of the essential oil, how does this happen? Well, we know that the molecules of the essential oils are so small and so tiny that they lift off the surface, and that's the fragrance. It's the molecules of essential oils that are airborne. And we talk about the thin oils or the thick oils, the thinness or the thickness, and its ability to vaporize. So the thin oils, they vaporize faster, and they go farther and quicker because they're a smaller molecule. The thicker oils, they're just a bigger molecule, and so they maybe linger a little bit longer. And so it's an interesting fact that all of our senses, all of our 5 senses, are wired directly to the rational cortex, the reasoning cortex of our brain, except for our sense of smell, which is wired directly to the emotional cortex. And this is why we have an emotional response to a fragrance before we have a logical one. And oils are energy. Their frequency, their vibration, their molecules in motion. And so the rate of vibration of the essential oil is anywhere from 58 to over 400. And so every time that we smell an essential oil or spritz ourselves with the essential oil, we're increasing the energy. And so we're increasing our vibration, and that helps us to be lifted and to be picked up. And the essential oils also are transporters, so they help to transport our thoughts. And so this simplified explanation has a profound effect as we're studying and thinking about our goals and learning something new. And it can't be underestimated. So it's critically important that we, just remember that these essential oils are going directly to the center of our memory, the center of memory, emotion, and motivation. And we don't have to understand everything of how it works. We don't understand how gravity works. We know that it works, and we don't question it because we've all experienced it in certain ways. And so let's use our oils without questioning them, just knowing that they're helping us, and use them consistently throughout our study. And so this is how I want you to use them. This is how I use them. I made my spray bottle. Every time before I listened, I spritzed. And after I listened, I spritzed. And it's just like a pick me up. Sometimes we learn something and we feel like, or we go to do the lessons and we need some believe. And so every day you use this as your consistent way to use the oils throughout your study. And here's this quote that I absolutely love by Earl Nightingale. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And what's the whole purpose of this lesson? It's to have our own worthy ideal, to have our own worthy goal, to feel worthy of the goal that we're seeking to achieve. So let me just start out by saying that if you don't have a C-type goal, if you don't have a C-type goal written on your goal card, then just give yourself permission to take some time. Spritz yourself and then take some time to get quiet and just sit for a while. And, put a drop of Believe on. Breathe that in. Take that deep inhalation with your eyes closed. Just give yourself permission to sit there, so maybe for the purpose of somebody who hasn't done this before, let me just say, let's just do it. Put a drop of the Believe oil, put a drop of Believe oil in your hand. I don't know if we can do this too often, and just smooth that on our palms, and then cup it under our nose with our eyes closed. Take a deep breath in, hold it at the peak of your breath, and then gently blow out, and just feel your shoulders relax while you're doing that. You can just feel the relaxation and just kind of the pick me up that happens. And so repeat this 3 times. Just give yourself permission to sit down and do that right after this call. Do that. And breathe in the Believe oil this way every time you go to, do your meditation with writing out your goal or saying your goals. And make this a constant practice that you do all through this lesson for the whole entire 2 weeks. So every morning, every night, you want to feel really good about what you're writing on your goal card. You want to feel really good about it in a way that it's something that you really want. Maybe to state simply, just instead, what you could do is you just take a paper and you write out as many ideas as you can think of. Just write the thoughts that come to you. Just write and write and write. And whatever comes to your mind, doodle, relax, let your thoughts flow. You can write 100 things on the paper if you want. Really dig into this and, write down the things that you want. And see the things that you want instead of thinking about all the things that you don't want. Sometimes we're asked what we want and immediately we start talking about what we don't want. So don't write any of that down. Only write down the things that you want. And read them through and see what it is that really fits you. What is the thing that really, really is the what really gives you that feeling inside of like, okay, I can go for this. And so really think about it. To achieve it, um, it's all about repetition and the implementation of it. And lesson one is all about getting crystal clear on that goal. The creative process begins to flow when you give yourself permission to relax and write and think and imagine. Imagine what you really want. Think this is about how you take an idea, that thing that you really want, you take that idea from a thought in your mind and bring it into actual physical reality. And you do this by, first of all, originating the thought and then repeating it until you feel it inside. And then consistently daily taking steps in the direction of that goal. And so, what is your goal? Lesson one is all about goals. And ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself these questions. Is my current goal making me excited and energized? When you just ask that question, what feeling comes up inside for you? Do you need to get out your believe oil? Do you need to spritz yourself with accept abundance? Are my current goals, is my current goal, make it personal, is my current goal making me excited and energized? Do you feel that? Go inside. What's your response? And then, do my goals belong to me or do they belong to somebody else? Think about that. This is something you need to go write down and then take your believe oil and sit there and think about it. Do my goals belong to me or do they belong to somebody else? What do I really want? What do I really, really want? For many of us, we've not given ourselves permission to really say or write what we want because we're in this state of, well, we're supposed to because, or somebody wants us to because. And so we need to consistently ask ourselves these questions time after time after time. And like I said, lesson one is all about goals. And so the majority of people, they don't really know very much about goals. I know I didn't. I thought I did. How often we've been told over the years, as maybe for myself, I can speak how many times we've been told over the years to make a big, scary, audacious goal and, things like that. And remember that? Does anybody remember that? Is it just me? And then you might say, well, I don't know what to write. Well, just write something big. And you might say that I didn't know what I didn't know about goals. I thought I knew a lot about goals, but I didn't know what I didn't know. I certainly didn't understand them on the level that I do now because of what Bob teaches in these lessons. And the way that Bob explained a goal is completely different viewpoint from what the general thinking of a goal is. And mostly I was taught, and most often this is what is taught, is that you make a big goal and then you strive to achieve it or you strive to get there. And this thinking into results is exactly the opposite. Instead, we go there in our mind, in our imagination, and we energetically feel it. And we energetically have to get emotionally involved with what our goal is and what it is what we want. And when we see it in our minds and we hold that vision in our minds, then we can create it. This is quite different from the way that I was originally taught. It's a totally different perspective on the way to choose and set a goal. And it sure opened up my mind and my viewpoint. So one of the things that it asks you to do in lesson 1 is to make a list of your personal and your professional wants. This is 2 separate lists. Now, you may not right now have 2 lists, and maybe as you're going through this, you find it difficult to make 2 lists. You may not feel like you have a professional want, or you may not know what your personal want is, but it's really, I was going to say critical. It's not critical. It's important that you look at these 2 different perspectives and find out which one you want to actually work on the most. So your professional want would be your Young Living business. Your personal want would be anything to do like with your health, with your family, with your relationships, anything to do with your personal life. Your professional want is anything to do with your Young Living business or any business that you have, a financial goal. That's a professional want. And regardless of how you're doing this, of whether you're working on professional or working on personal, or whether you're doing them both, you can pick one or the other. The best way is to always have your worksheets with you, so that when you're doing your lessons, or even have them sitting out where you can see them through the day, because if something pops into your mind, you want to write it down. And sometimes these thoughts come at the most unusual times. Maybe it's when we're driving, maybe it's when we're doing the dishes, maybe it's when we're listening to the lesson, or just any time. And so just have some place where you can write it down, because you don't want to forget it. You don't want to lose that thought and that idea, because one idea can build upon another. And here's a quote that I love. This really is something to think deeply about, by T.E. Lawrence. All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their minds wake in the day to find it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are courageous men, for they act on their dreams with their eyes open to make them possible. Dream, allow your imagination to go, and then act. Typically, inspired dreams come to you when you're in a relaxed state. So use the oils to relax. Use the oils to relax, and let your mind relax. And when your mind relaxes, your body will relax. Because why? Because remember that our body is the instrument of our mind. So simply start making a list of all of your wants. It doesn't matter what your want is. Don't judge it. Simply start writing it down and use your spritz. It smells so good. And so keep adding to that list over the next 2 weeks. So starting today, and then you have 13 more days. The objective is that over the next 2 weeks, the goal of this 2 weeks is to get you focused on those ideas, so that you get this list of professional wants and this list of personal wants, and you keep adding to it. And then you can single out that one thing that is going to be your goal. You might have 20 or 100, and that's okay. The goal is to single it out, to get one thing that is the most meaningful to you. And that's what you will focus on during this program. So many people, myself included, when I started this out, there's so many things that I wanted. And, it's like a lot of people, they're like, they go down this road a little ways and then they go down this road a little ways. They start this program and they start this and they do this and then they stop and then they start it over again and then they start something else and then they stop and then they start it over again and there's this, this stop and start, and they gather a lot of knowledge, but they ever really don't really get very far along. And their life really doesn't change much. And, from 1 month to the next, from 1 year to the next, it's basically stays the same. And, one of the reasons that someone or you can struggle with a goal and not accomplish the goal, or that you're constantly struggling to achieve it, you don't want to struggle. You need to get relaxed and make this easy. And if you can't get emotionally involved with your goal, it's probably because it's not yours. It's probably because it's not your goal. It's probably because someone else gave it to you. You're doing what you think someone else wants you to do, or you're doing what you think you're supposed to be doing. You got to get emotionally involved with it. You got to love it. You've got to really want it. You don't have to know how to do it. That's not part of this equation. The only part of this equation is that you want it. This is the only way that you can get really focused on your goal. Like I said, your professional goal can be around your Young Living business or any other business that you have, and or a financial goal. Your personal goal can be around your health. It can be around a result you're achieving. Some people are not incentivized by the financial goal itself, but they're incentivized by the effect of it, or what it gives them, or what it produces, or what they can do or achieve or give because of it. Either way, the goal is to get everything written down, get all your wants out there so that you single it down to one. And so let's talk about a few key points. So a goal is something that you're going after that you've never done before. So part of my role here is to change your mind, to help you shift perspectives, to help you accept new ideas, and to accept them not on a conscious level, but to accept them on a subconscious level, because this is where the thinking changes and this is where everything happens. And if you're going to make a difference, you've got to get it into the subconscious and change that program that's there already. And so some of you might be digging your heels in at some of these concepts. And you might be feeling, or during the course of this program, you might be thinking, well, I've always done it this way. And I've been taught to do it that way or whatever. And it always works this way. But you know what? No, it doesn't. The laws always work. Everything happens exactly according to the law. And so trust the process and immerse yourself in it. If you listen to Bob, he says, listen to what I'm saying and do exactly what I tell you. And then he'll also say, like, if you get a coach, listen to what your coach tells you and do exactly what I tell you. So I'm telling you, do exactly what I tell you. Personally, I've had to really step back myself and let go of some of my own thinking and do what Bob tells me. And sometimes it's not easy, or we make it not easy because we have these preconceived ideas of how we think it's supposed to be. But guess what? Every time that I'm just willing to fit in and apply the lessons and make the changes that he's asked, it's paid off big time. huge improvements in my personal life, the quality of my life in every way. And trust the process. Just trust the process and allow yourself to be immersed in it. And so it says a goal is designed to help you grow. It causes you to draw something from yourself that you didn't even know was there. So if you already know how to reach the goal is not going to do for you what a goal is supposed to do. If you already know how to do it, it doesn't require that you grow or that you have to learn a new skill or that you have to develop more of you. So let's think about this. Say your goal is to achieve Royal Crown Diamond or a rank in Young Living, or perhaps, well, let's just say it's to achieve Royal Crown Diamond. Often I hear people say or use this excuse that I don't know how to talk to people. Yes, you do. You talk to people all the time. And get over that feeling because you're making it up. And, you hear someone talk about a problem they have and you automatically want to help them. And so you can simply share your story, relax and share your story. You know more than they know. You know your own story. They don't. They don't know your story. So you have a casual conversation and see how you can help them. Simplify this to the ridiculous and make it easy. So it says if you're really going to accomplish something, you are going to need to be inspired by going after something that you really want. It's going to have to come from inside. It can't be what somebody else wants for you, but it has to be what you want for you. So you don't have to have both professional and personal goals, but you do have to have a goal. This program is designed for both individuals and for businesses or for teams. This is a phenomenal program for teams or for companies to do this together as a family or as a company or as a business or as a team. It's also phenomenal for individuals. And you have to first get aligned within yourself before you can align with a team. So if you're doing this for yourself, like immerse yourself in it. If you're doing it for yourself and then doing it for a business, or if you have a company, or if you have a team, or if you're doing it as a family, you might have a team goal. And that could be part of your professional goals. Depending on your goal, you could have a goal for your team that your goal is to help everybody on your team get what they want. And so you help them to identify what their goal is, and then you help them get that. Or whatever it is in your business, how you can relate this to any business. Right now, we're relating it to Young Living. And, so if you have a goal to achieve a certain rank in Young Living, you can't get there on your own. It doesn't matter what rank it is. You cannot achieve a goal in Young Living as having a rank in Young Living by yourself. This is only ever accomplished with a team. And so you and one other person makes a team. You and two other people make a team. And first of all, I tell people you need to get yourself aligned, which is you, yourself, and I. So get your head and your heart all going in the same direction. And you're going to do that in lesson 1 by getting your goal clear. And so, thinking about how the professional goal can work, I was going to use an example that I have a goal. I have a goal that's with TIR, being as how we're on TIR right now with thinking into results, in 2021, I would like to introduce 100 people to TIR to be able to help them achieve their goals. The world needs this. We all need this. And so to achieve my goal, you could help me achieve my goal by giving me leads and giving me referrals, and then I can help those people achieve their goals. And so if they're your teammates, then it's automatically going to help you achieve your goal. So you helping me achieve my goal helps you achieve your goal. You see how this thing works. Or you may not have a team goal, and that's fine, but it is great to start wherever you're at. You need to get clear on what your goal is. And this is set up for, like I said, this whole program is set up for individuals or for families or for businesses, for corporations, for teams, however you want to do it. It's a fantastic program all around. And so just get clear on what your goal is. Be really specific. And there's a reason. Let me just talk about this for a minute. There's a reason why Bob is so set on having a financial goal, or why he talks about it a lot, a money goal. And this is because it says so much about you. It indicates your self-image. It gives you an indication of your self-confidence. It helps you to measure your self-worth. It measures the value that you are bringing to the marketplace, because the marketplace always pays you according to the value you are bringing. And this is why Bob so often says, what's the most you've ever earned in a year? And it doesn't matter what it is. It's just that it gives you and him an indication of certain things, and the feelings that it brings up. It does something else. A financial goal brings up a belief around money. And you might need to be using a lot of spritz and of accept abundance here, because it just shows, if you have any resistance with this, it shows that you're blocked in this area. It reveals your self-image, your self-worth. It's a measuring stick, that's all. There's no right or wrong. It simply is a revealer and a clear indication of if you actually want to move forward, and if you want to achieve your goal, or if you just want to defend your position of where you're at right now. A financial goal simply gives context in these areas. And so notice what's happening for you. Notice what's coming up. Notice how you're feeling about this. And the more you earn, the more you can give. The more you earn, the more you can make a difference in the world. And this material of thinking into results helps you to increase your service. So give yourself permission to write out what you want. To put this in context, just to say this again, a financial goal or a C goal indicates what you want to do, and this is where your self-image has you. It has you, if you're wanting to have a goal up here, but your self-image has you down here. It's not like there's something wrong with you because that's happening. This is the reality of life. It just means that your self-image has you stuck down here and you want to go here. And this image that's been there, it's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it was the wrong thing got installed. Somebody else put it there. It's not really you. And so now is your opportunity to change that and to start thinking up here and to start thinking on this level. And so you know, when your goal is up here and you're down here, you can't climb your way up there. This is what we've so often been told to do. You know, set a goal and then work your way there. No, you don't. You set a way and you think you're right there. Because when thinking causes feeling, and thinking is frequency. And so you get on that frequency and you use your oils to believe and to accept abundance. And these are the two things that I use consistently multiple times a day, all through lesson 1. And this is what I suggest that you do. And so relax. Don't look at your past and judge your present by your past. Look at where you want to go. And you don't have to work hard to get there. You simply have to understand this process, align with the laws, relax, accept, and shift your perspective. Can you do that? Of course you can. So will you do that? And I hope your answer is a resounding yes. I hope your answer is a resounding yes. So let's talk a little bit about goal types. You know, we often talk about setting a goal that scares you. And so what if you're not scared by your goal? You could ask the question, you know, even though I'm making a big jump in my goal and it's like, you know, fits all the criteria, it doesn't scare me. And is that okay? Yes, that's okay. Sometimes you have a C-type goal and there's this calmness about it, and that's even better. But there's also this anticipation with it. And so, you know, don't get caught up in the goal being so grandiose that, you know, we don't all have to climb Mount Everest. The only real prerequisite is that you want it. That's the C-type goal. It's that you want it and that you haven't done it before. And that you have no idea how to do it. The purpose of a goal, remember, is to cause you to grow. And so the A-type goal is doing something that you know how to do already. A B-type goal is what you think you can do. There's no growth in those types of goals. Bob says that if you know how to do it, you set a goal for something that you know how to do, or that you think you can do it, that there's no stretching, there's no growth, you said you're going sideways. You're not even growing, you're just going sideways because you've already done it. You need to, in order to have a goal that you stretch towards, that you grow, you have to really want it. And a C-type goal is a goal that comes from your fantasies, your imagination. You use your imagination to originate it. And you think about it. And so run your goals through this filter of, does it excite me? Does it inspire me? Does it give me enthusiasm to get up in the morning? Do I get that vibe inside when I sit and imagine myself there? So all too often what we do is we imagine trying to do it and how to do it. And we get all these things mixed up in there instead of just simply, do I want it? Is this something that I want? Would I love to do this? Would I love it if I achieved this? Would I love it if this was me? Do you love it? Is it something you really want? Run your goal through these filters. You know, I'm a big believer in like base camp goals. You know, you have a big goal, like your C goal is the main goal. And then you have to chunk it down into smaller bite-sized portions. For example, you know, if you're going to climb Mount Everest, you have to get to the base camp first. In fact, you have to get to Nepal. In fact, you have to get a plane flight there. In fact, you have to have passport. And so all of these things you have to do before you get there, but getting the passport isn't your goal. And the same with if you're going to achieve, Royal Crown Diamond. You set the goal in Young Living, whatever your goal is. If you want to be Royal Crown Diamond, you don't set your goal to be executive, even though that's a step on the way there. So you have all these base camps and you celebrate them all along the way because every one of them is a celebration. But your real goal, your C goal that you have no idea how to do, is Royal Crown Diamond or Mount Everest or whatever it is for you. So of course you have to have all the steps, but the steps aren't your goal. Is this making sense? Are you with me on this? We'll make it simple by chunking it down to the bite-sized pieces that help us to achieve what it is that we need to achieve. And step by step, we get there. Make it easy. Commit to the process. And so I talk a little bit about the worksheets. So the worksheets, they're meant as an activity to challenge you to immediately apply the lesson that you're learning. And the worksheets are an essential part of the Thinking into Results program. And each time that you watch the lesson, it says here that you should also complete the worksheets, but that actually is contrary. Every time that you watch the lesson, first of all, do it write down whatever you do on the first lesson. Then every time you watch it, the first time you watch it, and every time you watch it after that, add to it. Add to it every day. Add a little bit to it every day. And then on the 7th day, make sure you complete it. And then the next week, do the same thing so that you have the layers of thought that go into it and the layers of your thinking to create your goal. And then when it's completed, there's a different feeling than if you try and do it all at once, or if you think you have to repeat the entire thing every time. Just add to it. When I did mine, I did it in colors. So every day I used the color of the day to add whatever my thought was for that day. And so you're going to do this consistently over and over and over again. And so that's basically the review of lesson 1. And so you're going to use your oils of acceptance and abundance to make an accept abundance spray. And every time you listen, you're going to spray this oil, this spritz. And one of the times that I was often tempted not to listen or not to think about or not to repeat my goal was right before I went to sleep. But that few minutes before you fall asleep is a zone where the subconscious is open. And so when you're falling asleep, just if you're thinking about your goal, listening to the lesson, thinking about your goal, and repeating your goal to yourself right before you fall asleep, and you put the oil on your hands and you're smelling that as you drift off to sleep, and remember that the subconscious is open. So whatever you're thinking about as you're falling asleep imprints into the subconscious. So breathe in the oils and think about your lesson, your goal as you're falling off asleep. And that's a review of lesson 2. So thank you so much for being with me today. Enjoy this, and we will see you in lesson 2. Bye.